Most weight loss advice assumes that your brain works in a certain way, but if you have ADHD, it doesn't. Many of us have tried everything from meal plans, calorie tracking, workout routines, and still walk away feeling like we've failed, but everyone else seems to manage just fine. And it's not because we don't care, it's not because we're lazy, and it's certainly not because we lack willpower. Those of us with ADHD are told that if we just tried harder or stayed consistent that things would finally click. But what rarely gets acknowledged is the entire structure of traditional weight loss works against how our brains actually function. In this video, we're going to talk openly about the real struggles that we face when we try to lose weight with ADHD, and why so much advice was never designed for us in the first place. One of the most harmful ideas that many of us grow up with is internalizing the idea that weight loss is a test of discipline. If we fail, we assume it's something about our character. But ADHD isn't a lack of willpower, it's a difference in self-regulation. We can care deeply about a goal. We can want it more than anything and still struggle to follow through consistently, especially when the payoff is far in the future and the effort is repetitive and unstimulating. Weight loss depends heavily on delayed gratification, long-term consistency, boring repetition, and self-control under stress. For ADHD brains, these aren't small obstacles, they're core challenges. When the system doesn't work, many of us don't question the system, we question ourselves. One thing that many of us don't learn early enough is how ADHD affects dopamine. Our brains tend to be understimulated, which means we're consistently seeking things that help us feel engaged, regulated, or simply on. Food, especially sugar, carbs, highly processed snacks, provide quick and reliable dopamine. So for many of us, eating isn't just about hunger. It's about getting through boredom, managing stress, transitioning between tasks, coping with overwhelm. When weight loss advice tells us to just stop snacking or cut out trigger foods, it ignores the role that food plays in keeping us functional. Removing that without understanding why it's there can leave us feeling restless, dysregulated, and frustrated, often leading us right back to the same patterns. A lot of us genuinely plan to eat well. We have the intention, we know what we should do. We may even feel excited to start. Then impulsivity shows up. With ADHD, impulsivity isn't about being careless. It's about how strongly the present moment outweighs the future. In the moment, the long-term goal feels distant. The consequence feels theoretical. The immediate reward feels urgent and real. So even when we know better, the brain prioritizes now. That's why hearing things like, "you knew what you were doing," can sting deeply. Knowledge has never been the missing piece for most of us. Weight loss asks us to make an overwhelming number of decisions every single day. What to eat, when to eat, how much to eat, whether to cook, whether it's worth it. For those of us with ADHD, executive dysfunction makes this exhausting. So we reach for whatever's easiest. Not because we don't care, but because our mental energy is already depleted. Many weight loss plans increase structure and rules, but they also increase cognitive load, something our brains are already struggling to deal with. A pattern that many of us realize in this cycle of extremes. We start strong, we go all in, and we hyper-focus. Then something disrupts the plan. One missed workout, one unplanned meal, and suddenly it feels like everything is falling apart. Then all or nothing thinking turns small setbacks into full-on resets. Instead of adjusting, we quit. Instead of continuing, we wait. And instead of compassion, we default to self-criticism. Over time, this creates burnout, not progress. ADHD often comes with emotional intensity. Feelings can be stronger, faster, and harder to shake. When stress, rejection, sensitivity, or overwhelm hits, food can become one of the fastest ways to regulate. This isn't a lack of emotional control, it's a nervous system trying to cope. Being told to stop eating emotionally doesn't help when emotional regulation is already more difficult. For many of us, weight loss advice asks us to give up a coping mechanism without offering anything to replace it. After enough failed attempts, many of us start to believe a story about ourselves. We can't stick to anything, that we always mess up, that weight loss just isn't meant for us. Shame becomes part of the cycle, and shame doesn't motivate. It paralyzes. It makes us avoid tracking, avoid routines, avoid even trying again. At some point, the real damage isn't physical. It's the loss of trust in ourselves. Many weight loss systems are built for brains that self-motivate easily, thrive on routine, tolerate boredom, respond well to rigid rules. And when advice ignores that, it sets us up to fail, and then convinces us that the failure is personal. It isn't. Understanding this doesn't mean giving up. It means we finally stop blaming ourselves for systems that weren't designed for our brains in the first place. If this video felt uncomfortably familiar, that's because many of us are living the same experience. We're not broken, we're not lazy, and we're certainly not failing because we don't want it badly enough. We're trying to lose weight with ADHD in a world that rarely acknowledges what that actually means. In the next video, we'll talk about approaches that work with our brains rather than against them, without shame, punishment, or impossible expectations. For now, the most important thing to remember is this: our struggle makes sense, and recognizing that is the first step forward.